Joshua chapter 1, when we look at verse number 1 in the King James Version, and after that, of course, I'll be reading the New Living again on this evening. King James Version says it like this. Now after the death of Moses, verse number 1, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that Moses spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. Verse number 4 goes to explain from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and into the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people thou shalt divide for an inheritance the land which I swear to their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. This is a foundational passage here for me. This is something that I've used for years to be able to walk into success. And I wanted to break this down. We've been talking about conquering, and this whole month we've been talking about conquering. And next month we'll be moving along. But what I do not want is I do not want a shift in positions. I want you to be very careful to make sure that you are not shifting into positions. And this is something that we've seen throughout the years in churches to where individuals would shift from this place to that place and shift from this place to this place. And we must understand that God does not want you to shift from a conqueror. And if he says that we're going into praise next, he doesn't want you to shift from a conqueror to a praiser. God wants you to shift from this level of understanding that, yes, I am a conqueror, to the next level. If he says go into praise, then we need to be conquerors that praise. We don't shift from a conqueror to now I'm a praiser. Last month I was a conqueror, or last service I was a conqueror. This service I'm a praiser. This service I'm delivered. This service I'm healed. No, God wants you to be a conqueror who is healed. He wants you to be an overcomer who is praising him. So make sure that as we are moving on, just because we're not using the word conqueror or conquering or overcoming, it's because we want it to be seated in your hearts now, something that you have received in your hearts. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So we want this to be something that you have received in your heart, that you are a conqueror. In all things, you are more than conquerors. We want you to have received this into your heart so that it is forming the way that you think, forming the way that you speak, forming the way that you respond to situations, forming the way that you digest things, forming the way that you see things. We want this to be received into your heart so that you understand that from here out, from this point forward, I am a conqueror. From this point forward, I am a conqueror. So God is speaking to Joshua now, and what I want to start off with is that God is speaking to Joshua. He tells him Moses is dead, but God is speaking to Joshua about what God wants Joshua to do right now. He's speaking to Joshua about where he wants Joshua to go right now. He's even speaking to Joshua about what he has given Joshua already. Here we have in verse number 3, he says, every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. So I want you to say this with me. Say, God has something specific for me. Say that again. God has something specific for me. He says to Joshua, every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given. That's past tense. That he didn't say that will I give you. He says that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. I want you to know that what God has for you, he's already told someone about it. He told Moses already what he had for Joshua. He says, that have I given unto you, not the people, unto you, as I said unto Moses. In the place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. So not just the same way as I was with Moses, I'm going to be with you also. No, there is something that God has. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. He's already told someone else about what he has for you. He's already spoken what he has for you. He's already spoken it. New Living Translation says it like this. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set your foot, you will be on land I have given you. So he's already said it to Moses. And he says, this promise that I gave to Moses, this promise that I've already spoken, I'm promising it to you. It's not something that no one knows about. Here's the thing. Moses has never stepped on the land. Moses, up until the point to right before he died, when God gave him the promise, Moses did not see the land. So everything that you are moving toward that God has already given you, you get there by faith. By faith. You must receive in your heart that this is what God has spoken. You must receive it by faith. You must receive it by faith. You must receive. You must believe what God has said. So here we have, he speaks to Joshua, and he says, and I'm going to go back and read all of this in New Living, verse number 1. After the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant. He said, Moses, my servant, has said, therefore the time has come for you to lead these people. See, it was now Joshua's time. It was now Joshua's time to step up. And I want you to know that it's your time. Say it's my time. Unfortunately, a lot of times when we hear this, people are saying this, they think it's my time to shine in front of everyone. But I don't want you to see it that way. I want you to see it as it's your time to step up. And not step up so that you can be highlighted. It's your time to step up to the plate, and it's your time to do what God wants you to do. It's your time to do what God wants you to do. He says, therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I am giving them. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set your foot, you will be on land that I've given you. From the Negev wilderness to the south of the Lebanon mountains in the north, from the Euphrates River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, including all the land of the Hittites. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Listen. God has a specific place that he wants you to end up. Jeremiah 29:11 says, God says, I know the thoughts that I think toward you. Listen, God has, he even goes as far as to talk about an expected end. God has a specific place that he wants you to end up. Now, how do we get to this place? And that's the question. Those are the things that we want to talk about on tonight. How do we get to this place? How can we succeed? And since I've already read this in the King James Version, I'm going to keep rolling in the New Living so that we can say this in everyday language so that we can take away every excuse to make sure that no one leaves here without understanding. I want there to be no excuse for you not to walk in who God has called you to be and not to walk and do what God has called you to do right now. Verse number 6, New Living Translation says, "Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. You are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors to give them." Listen, God has already talked about this thing, and he's already decided, he's already set it in stone what he wants for you. He's already decided in his mind what he wants for you in your life and this span of time that we occupy in this earth. He's already set in stone what he has for you, and he's already given it to you. Someone dies and they leave an inheritance for someone. They receive a phone call, and the attorney says, your late cousin passed away, and he's left you $3 million. What that means is that you've inherited. He has given this to you. Now, that individual cannot receive it until they do something. They must sign some paperwork. Listen, also, before they can sign anything, they must prove who they are. They must prove who they are before they can even sign for what's there. So they must prove who they are, and then